All right. So, no matter what business you're in, we're going to jump right in here. There are only 3 ways to increase your sales. Anybody here because they want to increase their sales in 2020? By the way, is anybody not here because anybody here because they don't want to increase their sales in 2020? Okay, good to know. Just one of you. Okay. So there's 3 ways. One way is you can get new customers, right? New customer acquisition. This is any business, anywhere. If you want more sales, you got 3 options. New customers. Second option is you can get more orders from your current clients. You already sold to them once. You can try to get them to buy a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 40th time. Okay? And then the third way, of course, the fastest way to grow is you do both. You do both new customer acquisition and repeat business. Now, for the purposes of this message, we are going to focus on the repeat business portion of it. So here's my question to start off with. Raise your hand if you're in this room and you're thinking, in 2020, if I could sell $50,000 to the people I've already sold to once already, you'd feel pretty good about that. Anybody here thinking 50 grand? Yeah. What about 100? Is anybody here thinking, no, I'd probably take 100 grand for me to feel really good about that? What about 150? Anybody think 150 grand would be great? How big can it get really, right? That's the question. How big can it go? Well, let's look at some of these numbers. So, we're going to look at some masters. How big can it get? Well, last year in 2019, this is just repeat sales. This is not their total sales. But in just repeat business, Seth Kinzer sold $327,000. I did a roundup, of course, the nearest dollar because I wasn't going to go all the change. Chelsea Banks, $349,000. Jason Jeffrey, $362,000. Deanna, $494,000. Curtis, $550,000. By the way, what percentage of your business can be repeat orders from the people you already sold to before? Curtis, what was your total last year? $1 million something? So what percentage, guys? That's like 50%. And they're not the only ones. Let's look at some people over even more longer times. Let's look at Josh Mueller. By the way, that slide should say repeat sales. Total sales and repeat sales. So the left number is total sales. The right number is the repeat sales that year, right? So total sales for Josh in 2017, 527. Repeat of it was 362. There's 2018. There's 2019. Let's look at Mike Dowd. These are both 2 guys that are masters at this stuff, right? 2017, there's Mike's numbers. 2018, 2019. So again, if you look at their 2019 numbers, both of them grew in both areas. They both got more new business, and they both got more repeat business. And what is the percentage? They're ranging somewhere between 50 to 60% of their total sales for the year being current clients. Okay? One more. How many of you, by the way, are thinking that'd be cool? 500 grand a year in business just to people you already sold to? Okay. Let's look at one more number. The big daddy, right? The big guy, Brandon Brown, number 1 this year. So, Brandon, 2017, 2018, 2019. Now, here's what's interesting. I looked at some of the specific percentages for Brandon. I had to write them down because there's no way I was going to remember them all. So here's some interesting numbers. So first of all, he went up $214,000 from 2018 to 2019. That was total, right? $214,000 in growth. 155 of that was repeat, which means 72% of Brandon's growth last year was in his repeat business, right? Yeah, good job, Brandon. That deserves a Brandon. Yeah. Out of all the growth, 25% of it was, or 25%, he went up 25% in total sales, went up 48% in growth, and of course, as we did on the last slide, over those years, so in 2017, 21% of his total business was repeat, and 2019, 44% of it was repeat. So by the way, if you're in the room, Brandon Brown, Josh Mueller, Mike Dowd, Seth Kinzer, Chelsea Banks, if you want to stand up, I have a question for you. And I'm only going to ask you to answer. I didn't prep them, by the way, so I apologize that I didn't give you guys a heads up for those of you that are in the room. You might help me pick them out, by the way, because there's a lot of you. I only see Josh standing. So, I thought I saw Chelsea out there. So here's the question. If you can answer in 30 seconds or less, because I don't have a lot of time. My question for you is, do you have an opinion on the effort level or difficulty level of getting an order from a new client versus getting an order from a repeat client? And if you have an answer, I'm probably not going to give you the microphone. I'm not going to mic run, but I'm going to repeat whatever you say. Well, if it's just 2 of you, though, I can probably run the mic. Here, Josh, I'll let you answer first.
Repeat clients are definitely easier, always easier, and faster, and they tend to buy bigger every time, it seems like, too, just because there's already a relationship and trust there, in my experience.
Okay, good job. Everybody, can we say, while I'm running this over here, can we, on 2, say thank you, Josh? 1, 2.
Thank you, Josh.
Chelsea Banks Rodriguez.
I don't know if you noticed, but it switched to Rodriguez this week on Rolo. So, yeah.
Got to change all the stuff. So, yes, I have an opinion, always. But about this specific question, for me, I have always looked long-term. And I remember sitting down at my mom's kitchen table, and she asked, why are you still selling Cutco? Back in 2011. And I said, because that realtor thing, you get reorders. But it's not just the realtor program. It's federal, it's Cutco events, it's you met them wherever. I would rather sit at my kitchen table with my cat on my lap, drinking my coffee, and sell $13,000 on a Friday over the phone than stand in a booth. And if you have repeat clients, you can do that.
Lifestyle. All right. Give her a hand. On two, can we say thanks, Chelsea? 1, 2.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Now, and you can, if you can find the other guys, because I don't think I didn't see them in this room. Sorry about that. You can ask other people what they think. And I didn't know how they were going to answer, by the way. I was prepared for them to either say, I think new people are easier. I think repeat people are easier. I didn't know. But it's exciting that their answer was more like, cool, repeat business is the easiest way to go. So that is awesome. So let's talk about how to do it, okay? My first question for you guys, please think about a relationship in your life that's really important to you, okay? And then think about what do you do to nurture that relationship, okay? By the way, is there anybody in the room that's been married for more than 5 years and thinks that their marriage is successful and happy? Tara? If you could, Patton, Tara, is that Jason? My eyesight's not great. Can you please share with us one thing you do to nurture the relationship with your spouse? Patton? Let's keep it appropriate. Try to listen intently and always be willing to forgive and admit when you make a mistake. Let's give Patton a clap on 2. 1, 2. Tara, what about you? Drink a lot of wine. Okay, communication and little gifts back and forth. Let's give Tara a clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. Jason, did you want to share something? Super powerful, intentional, quality time. Absolutely. Let's give Jason 2 claps on 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. You guys are good. Following along. I love it. No, the team's got it. Okay, we're doing that later. Great. So the point is, you guys, the client relationship really isn't that different than a regular relationship in your life. Client relationships have to be nurtured the same way that all of your other important relationships have to be nurtured. Okay? So that is the point. So I'm going to show you some ways to do that from a business sense. Now, if you want to give your clients quality time or listen intently or little gifts or any of that stuff or lots of wine, you can do that too. I'm not saying you can't do that, but we're going to talk about that stuff for sure. Now, here's a question for you. Are you the only person they can get Cutco from? No. Now, if you were the only way they could get Cutco, then you could really rely just on the quality of the products to sell your Cutco, right? But the simple fact is they can get it a lot of different ways now. So if you're not going to nurture the relationships and treat them special, someone else will, right? My second thing for you is, I'm going to tell you a really quick little story to drive the point home. When I was, a few years ago, my grandma was on her deathbed, essentially. Doctors were like, she's not going to live much longer, whatever. And my grandma didn't drive, and she doesn't fly, and all that stuff. And most of her kids, my aunts and uncles, were in her area. So she saw them recently. They'd come by to visit her. And especially after she got sick, of course, a lot of people came by to visit because they knew that it was going to be the last time they were going to do that. Just so happened that was the time where I was getting ready to leave the region, write the book, start speaking, that kind of stuff. So I had some extra time. And I was visiting her, and she was like, I really want to see Henry. It's one of her sons. But he was the only one, my only uncle, who had moved away. So he wasn't in the area. She hadn't seen him for a really long time. Neither one of them drive or fly, so they really didn't see each other very much. And so I was like, you know what? If you want to, I will come and pick you up. I live in Texas, by the way. She lives in Indiana, so I drove to Indiana, picked her up and my aunt, and drove them to where my uncle lives, which is another like 14 hours away or whatever. And I took him out, like, I'll take you out there for a week. It was hard for her to travel with other people because she had to have somebody that was willing to stop every time she needed to stop because she was pretty sick. So like a bus and things like that would have been really hard for her. So I took her on this trip, and it really wasn't that big a deal to me, right? We're on the road all the time as Cutco reps. We travel for shows. So to us, it's not a big deal. Traveling 14 hours, whatever. So I took him on this trip for a week, spent time with my Uncle Henry, brought her back home, whatever, went back to my life. And then when she passed and I went back there for the funeral, I walk into this room to people I've never met before, and we start chatting, and they're like, oh, you're the one that took her on that trip to see Henry. She talked about that so much. Like, she appreciated it so much. Like, that was the kind of conversation we had. My question for you is, when you do something special for people, whom do they tell about it? Everybody. Exactly. Everybody. So not only are you going to get repeat business out of it, but if you're nurturing your client relationships, oh, like that one? That's a good one. I know. That's why I put it on there. Yeah. Happy customers are your best salespeople, right? A nurtured customer relationship will get you repeat orders, more referrals, great testimonials, right? Whatever it is you need. If you really build that relationship right, you can ask your customers for a lot of things. Heck, Josh has been to places before where he travels to do a show, and he stays in the house with one of his customers. Like, they put him up, right, instead of a hotel. Usually he's at a hotel, but on occasion when he can't manage to work that out, he's actually stayed with clients. You build the right relationship, you can get a lot more out of your clients than just an extra Cutco order, right? Okay, and keep that clean, by the way. That's not meant to be bad at all. Okay, so let's talk about, by the way, remember too, though, that we are in a world where unhappy clients also have a much larger platform than they ever had before. So if you don't do people right, you might not be in business really long because they can easily spread that word to millions if they want to, yeah, on social media and all that kind of stuff. So you definitely want to do this right. Okay, so when I went and did some research for you, outside of just my own experience, this is what they say. Industry standards say the top 2 reasons that customers leave, so these are 2 things to avoid. The top 2 reasons that customers leave are they feel they're treated poorly, or you fail to solve their problem in a timely manner. Right? So those are 2 things to avoid. Now let's get into the things you can do. I'm going to give you a list I found through research, again, in the industry of repeat sales, not just in Cutco. And then I'm going to tell you how, like, examples that you can use within those things in your Cutco business, things that we have that we use at Vast Action. So first thing is personalization and familiarity. Okay? This is why, how many of you, by the way, have Vast Action CRM? Please raise your hand if you have the CRM. Oh, thank you. The point of that was not to be like, if you're not in there, you are nuts. But you should get in there. It's a really good system. Part of what we have in this CRM, which I don't know if all CRMs have this, maybe they do, but we have what's called history notes, right? And I know a lot of people don't use them because I don't think they understand the value of them. But a history note on every contact page is every time you interact with a client, no matter how you're interacting with them, you make a history note of like how you interacted and what you talked about and what they said and all that stuff. So the next time you talk to them, you can open up that client contact page, review the history notes in a few seconds, and pick up right where you left off. Now, I don't know if Rob Lord is in this room right now, but he came to cross-train with us last year. I say us, but really it's Josh. I just feed people and house people. Josh is the one doing all the Cutco teaching. But Rob came in at a time where he wasn't working a booth. Josh was just sitting. He was running an email sale, so he was sitting at his desk all day long making calls to clients, right? People have done that. You've probably heard of that. The Sales Pro and Max program teaches you how to maximize the sale that you're running like that. But when I got to the end of the day and we were having dinner, I was like, Rob, what did you learn today? Like, what did you notice? What did you get out of it, right? And he goes, every single person that answered the phone knew who Josh was. Like, that was the thing he caught on, was they were all like, hey, Josh, and like it was a conversation, right? Because Josh practices this religiously, always opens the contact page, always reviews the notes, and then picks up the conversation right where they left off. Even if it was 3 years ago. Hey, 3 years ago we talked about you were going to your daughter's wedding. How was it? How did it turn out? Now, it might not seem like a big deal, but to the customer, my question for you is, if they didn't know you were going to remember that kind of stuff, and they don't care if it's notes or whether you just remembered, by the way, the fact that you took the time to take the note impresses them. But if you have that kind of conversation with them, do you think that makes you more memorable to them when they go, oh my gosh, he remembered that from 3 years ago? Does that make sense to you guys? That's an immediate impression that sticks in the brain more than just picking it back up and being like, yeah, where did I see you last? What did we talk about last time? What's up? I don't know what. I know you bought from me. That's like all I know. Okay? So history notes is actually really, really good to use. Okay? I definitely recommend using that. Of course, personalization helps in the emails that fills in the first name for you. The second thing is anticipate a customer's needs. This is exactly why, an example of this is why we created the residential gift letter email. What it is I'm sitting here thinking, if a person's going to buy Cutco from you and they're going to give it as a gift to someone else. Has anybody ever had that happen? Someone buys a Cutco from you to give it as a gift to someone else? Okay, so it's not totally unique situation. If you're not doing enough of that, learn how to sell gifts because you can more sales if you, like when people say to you, I hear Josh when they answer the phone and they're like, Josh, we already have everything. He's like, awesome. Now it's time to start buying gifts for other people. That's the conversation. And then they move on and they sell gifts, right? So you can definitely sell gifts. But I'm sitting here thinking, if you're giving a gift of Cutco and the person receiving it doesn't even know what Cutco is, they don't even know how great of a gift that is. They'd be like giving somebody a Rolex, but they have no idea what Rolex is. They're just like, oh, it's a watch, thanks. I don't really wear a watch, right? So obviously that makes an impact. So the letter explains, I think you're amazing, Cutco's amazing, here's why I'm giving it to you, whatever, and we created a different letter for every single product that you're going to sell for a gift, right? Including sets and everything else. So if you buy if you can do it yourself. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can buy it from Fast Action. But now when someone's buying a gift from you, you can be like, hey, something else I'm going to do for you, Amiee, is I'm going to actually send you a letter about that particular product you're buying that you can give with the gift. It's going to explain to them exactly what it is, why you're giving it. Of course, you can edit it yourself if you want to, but it's going to make it a much more impactful gift when you give it to them. Does that make sense to everybody? It's because you're anticipating that need later. They're not going to say to you, hey, by the way, I might give this gift, and the person might not even get it. They're not going to say that. You're anticipating that need, and then you add the value that shows them that you're anticipating that need, okay? So anticipate their needs. The next thing is likability and trustworthiness. I'm not even going to go into that. That's enough said, right? Be likable, be trustworthy. Next thing, quick follow-up and resolve issues quickly. This is exactly why we came up with the CST templates, customer service templates. So in our CRM, if you want to, Josh had so many customers over so many years asking the same questions that he had to take the time and type out a response to. He's like, you know what? That doesn't even make sense. I'm actually going to make a template to answer the common questions, and then when they ask, I'm just going to shoot it off. So let me ask you, if you get a customer call you or text you or email you or whatever and ask you a question like, hey, how do I send my knives back to the factory? If you're sitting there thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, it's going to probably take me 10 minutes to sit down and write that email and whatever, so you're like, I'll get to that later, whatever, versus saying, yep, it's going to take me 30 seconds. Log in, go to their page, pick the template, send, done, check it off the list. Do you see how much of a difference that makes? And can you see how that's a difference in the quick follow-up that it said earlier? Customers don't feel cared for when they don't get quick follow-up. So having those kind of things in place in your system so that you can handle it quickly and completely. And it's nice to have a template that makes it consistent as well, so your branding is always the same. Passionate and engaged employees. How many of you have ever had a call with a Fast Action team member? Anybody? What do you guys think of Fast Action team members, by the way? Yeah. We work really hard to make sure that they are as engaged in the business as Josh and I, because we know, by the way, first of all, you deserve that. We also know that if they didn't do a good job, that you would always call and ask for us. You'd be like, can I just talk to Amiee or Josh? Can I just talk to Amiee or Josh? As much as we'd love to do that with all of you, we don't always have the time to take every call from every rep. So we have to make sure that our team is ready for that. So if you have team members in place, you have to make sure you have this piece as well. Right? Because you want to make sure your customers feel cared for no matter who they're talking to on your team. Onboarding program. If you've never heard that term before, an onboarding program is a process to get new clients acquainted with the products, right? Tutorials, guidance, support, that kind of stuff. This is why we developed the cookware drip that we have. So Josh had enough customers that would buy cookware and then reach out later and be like, you know what, I'm going to send it back. I just can't cook in this stuff. Has anybody ever heard that, by the way? Yeah, and you're like, no, it's the best, I promise. We've had it for 20 years. It still looks great, works great. So instead, we're like, okay, we used to just say, you know what? Don't do it yet. I'm going to send you a video on how to cook eggs in your cookware. And then after you watch it and try it, if you still want to send it back, that's fine. And we send out that one email, and then people would be like, okay, I'll keep it. Because they'd try it, and they'd be like, all right, I get it now. It works. And then we're like, we should actually create more of a training. So we have an 8-email drip now that when someone buys cookware, we put them on this campaign, and now they get 8 emails over time that tells them how to use the cookware. Josh's returns for cookware are basically 0 at this point for 2 years. No returns on cookware because of that, right? So onboarding program, teach them how to use the products. The next thing they say you should have is a company newsletter, a continuing education. That is why we have the monthly content newsletter, membership. We have 3 levels. You can choose which one you want or make your own. I don't care. You don't have to use Fast Action for any of this stuff. You can do it all yourself. But if you don't want to do it yourself, we provide that kind of stuff, right? How many of you are using the monthly content emails, by the way? How many of you, what do you think of them? What reaction do you get? They're great. I have people all the time. Like, the reps think it's funny because they always tell me, my customers always say, I love your emails. Thanks so much for sending them. Or they go, I love that recipe. And the reps are all like, what did I send you? Because they don't even know, right? Because it's like we create it for them, which is fine. Who cares? The fact is the customer is getting the information. It's really important. Okay, so you got to keep them continuing training. Next thing is social proof. Also why? Testimonials, reviews, that kind of stuff. Also why, by the way, are any of you like me now? This never used to be me, but it is now. If I go to Amazon to buy stuff now, I type in what I want, and then it pulls up the results, and then I go and I filter it to, I used to filter price low to high every time, everywhere I went, and I've changed my thing. Now I always filter by customer review. Anybody else do that? Because I'm like, I don't care what the lowest price is or the highest price. What I care about is what works, right? Social proof is a huge thing now, reviews, testimonials, which is, again, why we put testimonials in every content email we send out for our Gold and Platinum members about the products we're featuring that month. And then social responsibility. It's becoming more and more important. So if you are going to promote business, it's always good to have something that you guys do also that gives back to the community or the world or whatever you're doing. Just have something you're doing to create positive impact in the world. People like it. They're more likely to buy from you again. In fact, Josh had people call this fall when he was really going for 600K, by the way, and Josh ended up at like 599 something, right? And we were like, should we buy it? Should we buy it so we can hit 600? But you get to this point in your business, you're like, the number's just the number. The journey is really what you're doing. He worked as hard as he could work. He sold 599 and some change. It's not 600. Who cares, right? The fact is he had a great year. He still grew. So we didn't buy it. We're like, it's fine. We'll end at 599. But we had customers that were like, how close did you go? I don't need anything else, but you know what? I'm going to buy something else to help you get there. And then one lady even called back later and was like, you know what? Make that even a bigger order. I really want to help you get there. You get them tied into something more special than just buying Cutco, they're more likely to buy more Cutco, okay? And then client perks. Make them feel special. Mike Dowwood does the black metal business card for his gold clients. We're getting ready to order some of those ourselves. I know Alicia Andrew did that as well. But here's some other ideas. The Cutco anniversary email. If you're in the Vast Action CRM, it now has a feature where you can have it send an automatic email on the anniversary of the first order date every single year. So the customer gets an email, it's like, hey, it's your Cutco anniversary. Happy anniversary, Justin. And then it tells them, like, here's 3 anniversary bonuses, and you can choose what those are. But you can do that yourself. I can show you how to set it up. You can buy it from Vast Action. It doesn't matter, but the point is stuff like that. Cutco anniversary, make them feel special. Also, you can do it at events by doing drawings just for owners. If you're doing a drawing, make sure they know it's just for owners, not for just everybody. You can do gold client programs. We do that where you do something special for gold clients. And you can do appreciation events. How many of you have been by the Vast Action booth here at this event and got this little green card? If you haven't been there, go pick up this card. It's an invitation to the appreciation event we are running after this event, as soon as this event ends. And all we're doing is getting your feedback, giving you a gift, giving you some appreciation, playing a game to have some fun, and then giving away over $4,000 in prizes. It's only about appreciating you guys because we do appreciate you so much. And you can do that same kind of thing with your clients. You can run appreciation events or something similar. If you haven't gotten your invitation, please come get it. That card has the location of where we're going to be in the building here at this building. Also, I just want to mention, if you guys didn't pick this up, we made this for every single person here. If you want it, it's just a calendar with Cutco things that happen throughout the year. It tells you like when to expect to block your customers. Has anyone in this room ever missed a blocking before? And then you're like, dang it! Do they ever go back and let you block again? No. They're like, I'm sorry. I know someone in this room called Cutco and said, I tried to do it at midnight, but something happened with my computer and it didn't work. Are you sure you can't block them today? And Cutco's like, no, we can't. They never. I've had division managers call Cutco and ask, and they never extend the blocking. This little thing will give you the heads up of what's happening during the year, help you plan your year so you don't miss that kind of stuff, okay? It's free for everybody. So make them feel special. Give them little things to help them out. Okay, now we're gonna review a handout, and my team is gonna come up here, by the way, really quick. If you've not met the Vast Action team, please come by the booth even just to say hello. So here at the event, because it's more local for us this year, yay, you don't have to like buy all the flights, right? So usually we have Becky and Max and Alicia at the events. This year, now we're coming Becky, Robin, Alicia, Max, Danny, and Gloria. So if you haven't met some of these people, come by and introduce yourselves, because they're amazing. They're gonna give you the handout. Okay. You guys can hand them out, please. And then please come by and meet these guys at the booth. They love working with you guys. And they love putting faces with names that they talk to you, email or phone. I'm going to try to do this really quick because I'm running out of time. But as we go through the handout, what I want you to keep in mind, I made this so that it'd be easier for you guys to take. Essentially what it is it's going to show you at different levels, whether you're a beginner, whether you're advanced, or whether you're an expert level, some things you should be considering doing with your clients or for your clients to really build that long-term relationship. Okay? And as we go through, I want you to think about, there's really 3 things customers are evaluating you on, by the way. They're evaluating the product, how satisfied they are with that. They're evaluating your service and Cutco's service, how satisfied they are with that. And they're evaluating you as a person. Okay? So each level we go through, beginner, advanced, expert, those go up. You get to the expert level, and it's like your satisfaction in all these categories is off the charts, right? Repeat sales like crazy. By the way, one question. Have any of you ever had somebody say to you, oh, you're still doing that Cutco thing? Has anybody ever heard that? Oh, you're still doing that Cutco thing? That is insane. You should never be asked that question. It should be obvious. Everyone you know and all of your customers should know you're still doing the Cutco thing. Does that make sense? You want to get it to the point where if they think Cutco, they think you. Do you have any products that you bought where if you think about that product ever, you think about the salesperson of that product? Because I think that's rare, but if it is, that's great for that person. You want someone going, oh, wait, I should buy Cutco for that wedding. We got to call Josh. Oh, wait, I got to buy Cutco for that thing. We got to call Rob. Like, that's how it should be. It should never be like, I wonder if that person still sells Cutco. Is Colin still selling Cutco? That's crazy. They should know that you sell Cutco, okay? If you're not at least keeping them in touch enough with that, then you got to improve that somehow. Okay, so here's the handout. We're going to walk through this together really fast. One is the beginner level. At least one personal touch, like a thank you card or an email, follow-up, check-in on the new product, whatever. At least once a month, a value-added communication at a minimum to stay top of mind. That means even if your communication kind of sucks, that's okay. Still send it, because then they still know you're selling Cutco. They're still getting something. Something is better than nothing. And then 2 to 3 times a year, run a sale, right? Call your clicks, all that kind of stuff. So that's minimum. If you're not doing anything else, you should be doing that. Something, 1 email a month, 1 personal touch after they order, and then 2 to 3 times a year offering a sale. At the advanced level, do all of that, plus add in 1 a year check-in call, right? Courtesy call, update the account, get the new email, make sure they haven't moved, see if they need service, all that kind of stuff, right? Emails inviting them to the events that you're going to work in the area. Emails for service offers. Improved content, like maybe it's more authentic versus all just sourced. So that means instead of just going and getting a recipe online and sending it, maybe you actually make the recipe and take a picture so they can see that you're doing it and then send that, right? So it's a little bit more authentic. And authenticity, if you guys don't know this, I know a lot of people want to have the corporate-looking emails with the corporate images. Everybody wants Cutco to give you corporate images for social media and stuff too. When all the stats show that you get way more engagement on authentic pictures that are your own. Mike Dowd does this a lot. Adam Conroy does this a lot. They post all kinds of pictures, and they're almost never corporate images. They're almost always their own images. It doesn't have to be fancy and perfect. It should be from you. So stop worrying so much about what the emails look like and make sure it seems like it's coming from you. Right? That's really important. Okay. So, improved content. Maybe a theme and things more cohesive. Once a year, a direct mailer, whether that's a catalog or a sale offer, or just a general mailer, but sometimes people you don't have their emails or texting, so you got to send them a mail, get a hold of them. Once a year, better follow-up systems like the customer service templates, or send the birthday emails on the trigger. The birthday emails trigger the same way the anniversary emails trigger, and an anniversary. Expert level, all of that, plus direct mail for your largest events, right, to get them there. Maybe it's definitely a sale mailer. Greeting cards, so anytime we're on the phone with a customer and they're like, oh, I'm sick, or oh, so-and-so passed away, or oh, I'm getting married, we put a greeting card in the mail immediately. Happy anniversary, happy wedding, hope you feel better, sorry to hear you lost that person, whatever it is. Really personal touches, right, based on conversations. Leveraging stuff to an assistant, check-in calls, calls for scheduling, that kind of stuff. Gold client extras, like do a gold client mailer, even if it's just a handwritten note, that's still great if that's where you start, it's no problem. Higher level customer service. By the way, we had a customer one time that ordered 6 table knives from Josh, and he thought we had a box. He was like, we have a box, I'll just send you a box, whatever. So he sent me an email saying, send that customer a box. But when I went to look for it, we actually only had an 8 table knife box. We did not have a 6. We had a 4 and we had an 8. So what was I going to do? I wasn't going to take the time to order a box from Cutco because they were supposed to have it really fast. So instead, I sent them an 8-piece box with 2 table knives. Does that make sense? I got a call from that customer, and they were like, I've been telling everybody how awesome you are. You sent me 2 free table. I explained it. I didn't have a 6-piece box, so I'm just sending you 2 table knives. They were amazed. That was not that big a deal, but it made a big deal to them. Tony Carlston, when he has people that reach out and go, I still have gifts that are engraved for this realtor stuff, but I changed companies. They're not even right anymore. He'd be like, no problem. I'll just give you a credit for the gifts you still have towards your next order for the new one. You don't have to do that kind of stuff, but he does it because it's better customer service. Surprise and delight, right? Do that extra step, especially if it's a good customer. More customization in your marketing, like your branding and stuff like that. if I were to ask the people closest to you what they love best about you, think about that. If I were to say, Brandon Wynn's family, what do you like best about Brandon? Whatever they say, my question for you is, do your customers know that about you? Shouldn't that be part of your brand? The thing that your people in your life love best about you, your customers should know that about you. Expert level marketing is you can start getting them really tied into your brand and your personal strengths and stuff as well, not just a general template, yeah? Social media helps, not for selling, but definitely for building a list and getting following. Add voice drops and texts, all that kind of stuff too. Okay, I know I'm gonna take like 2 extra minutes here, but I wanted to show you guys, because I didn't want to just give you, I'm sorry, I feel like this isn't quite as fun of a message as usual, but as usual, I'm always trying to pack in so much information that I can't just stop and have fun with you guys. But I wanted to add up on a little fun note, and that is I reached out to other top CSPs who do get a lot of repeat business and asked them, what do you think are the most important things to getting repeat business? So here's what they said, okay? Does anybody know who that is? The one circled? That's Bert. Bert Wicks. Bert Wicks said, serve first, sell second. Make them smile and laugh. Diversify your marketing, text, emails, letters, postcards, drawings, etc. Give them a reason to stop by the booth, right? All right, next person. Who's that? Luke. Luke said, provide realistic expectations, then exceed them. Timely responses, consistent value-adding communications, proper communications on what's next to lay the groundwork for future sales, and fostering reciprocity. You're going to see how these all fit into everything we just talked about. Who's that? Can you guys tell? It's a little bit harder to tell. Alicia, exactly. It's not the best picture. Sorry, Alicia. I was trying to find pictures at booths initially because it's so far back and dark, it's kind of hard to see her. Use different types of touches. Keep your name top of mind using emails full of value that are fun for your customers to read. Thank you cards for every order. Promote events and use Vast Action's marketing planning call. Who's that? Do you guys know? Matt Warren. He had a big year. Congrats, Matt. That was awesome. Matt Warren said most important. He's more about onboarding. Remember we talked about onboarding? He's like first 30 days is the key. So first 30 days, 3 touches at least. Custom email from Rolo, the thank you card, and then a voice drop to everybody and a personal call to any gold clients. Yeah? Last few. Who's that? Mike Dowd. That's right, Dowd. Repetition, reliability, being real. Send service, sales, events, and other marketing communications to your clients and make them feel special. And then, who's that? Deanna. She's had some big years. Deanna Scortino, marketing, follow-up, and authenticity. Follow up after every order to check in, be of service, and let them know that you're here for them. And Chuck is her partner who also helps her run the business, right? He said, meet or exceed expectations, consistent contact between you and them so they never forget you, are here to serve them, and create fun opportunities and deals for them to get more product. And then, who's that? That's right, Brandon Brown. We talked about that a minute ago. Brandon said, be intentional and present. Invest in marketing. He said it's a must. He's like, you can't run a business unless you're going to invest in marketing. So just invest in marketing. It's essential. And then frequent touches, emails, text messages, voice drops, mailers, etc. And the last thing I'll say, Tony Robbins. I'll wrap it up with 3 quotes. I love this. Tony Robbins says, you guys can see it there. I wrote it down here too, so let me flip my page. You guys read it to me. What does Tony Robbins say? What does that slide say? That was really good. Pretty much in unison. Close enough. Yes, the way we communicate with each other and ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives. So communicate with your customers in a quality way. You'll have a quality relationship with your customer. He also says, do what you did at the beginning of the relationship, and there won't be an end to the relationship. Does that make sense? Yeah, do what you did to get that sale. Maybe you'll keep getting more sales. And lastly, the way we run our business at Vast Action, strive not to be a success, but to be of value, and you will do great things. Thank you.